On lesson 9, we're going to start solving absolute value equations now. We've been graphing them and moving them around with transformations or taking a graph and writing the equation. But now we're going to move into actually solving them. Okay, again, I have put this on your notes so that we remember absolute value as the distance from 0 on a number line. Okay, we cannot have a negative distance. This is important to remember when we're solving. We're about to see that. So if I want to take the absolute value of 6, that means that from 0, I can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right off the graph. 6 spaces to the right. Okay, or what I could have had in here is a negative 6, because if I move 6 spaces to the left, I also moved 6 spaces. So inside of the absolute value, to get a distance of 6, this is distance, I could have had a positive 6 or a negative 6 in that absolute value. And that's really important. That's what we're about to use. So inside absolute value, it could have been a positive or a negative. Either question leads me to a distance of 6 away from 0. So when you're working absolute value, your most important, it's pretty much your only step that you need to know. You have to get the absolute value alone. And I will tell you what I mean by that in just a second. You have to get absolute value alone. Now, when you see how absolute value is alone, there's nothing in front of it, and there's nothing outside of it at the back. So when you look at this one, I'm going to use some highlighters, and I'm going to highlight the part that needs to be alone, just so that we get this down. So this is my absolute value. I need it to be alone before I can do anything. And what I see is that there is a -2 in the way. This is your equal sign. Okay, so that means I need to subtract 2 to the other side. Again, my goal is to get this absolute value alone. So absolute value of x plus 4 equals 6. Now, when I talk about absolute value being alone, here's my absolute value bars. I'm not talking about empty on the inside. That's not what I said. Alone. There's nothing in front. There's nothing behind. This is the step that I can star to know I am good to go here. My absolute value is alone. That is what I'm required to do, and then you apply absolute value ideas to this. What do I mean by that? I mean, what could be in here that is 6 away from 0? Well, guess what? I've already told you. It could be a 6 or a negative 6. Okay? It can be either number inside the absolute value to get 6 away from 0. So, this is how I set it up. Notice I have no absolute value bars. What's inside x plus 4 could equal this 6 right here. Okay? Or, what's inside x plus 4, notice I didn't change it, it still says x plus 4, could equal that negative 6, because it's going to go inside the absolute value symbol. Okay, right now, just take a second. I could move right 6 on the number line, or I could move left 6. Both have a distance of 6, correct? So when I work this, I'm going to subtract 4 and have 2. And I'm going to show you that this works with the calculator in just a second, so you know. Okay, over here, same thing, I'm going to subtract 4. But you see that negative 6 minus 4 is not the same as what we got here. Use a calculator if you need to. This will be negative 10. Somebody owes you $6, and then another friend owes you $4. You are owed $10. Okay, I'm going to show you that this works and that you can check this in your calculator. So here's what I want you to see. I want to go right here to this step only. So I want to put in 2 for x. 2 plus 4. That's 6. So I would put a 6 in here. That's what we had up here. And the absolute value of 6 is 6. Okay, so if I plug in 2, 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 is sitting right there. And it does have a distance of 6. Okay, let's plug in negative 10 plus 4. So again, negative 10 is x plus 4. Notice that then I get negative 6 in here. But the absolute value of negative 6 is still 6. Just like we did right here. Okay? So, when I set up absolute value, my first step, find the absolute value and get it alone. I move to the 2. Once absolute value is alone, that's the step I star. I leave it by itself, and I'm going to work it to the positive version and the negative version. In other words, I'm saying, hey, my distance can be to the right on the number line, or it can be to the left on the number line. So I'm going to have 2 solutions. Okay? Let's work the second one. I'm going to highlight my absolute value. Okay? And I notice that my absolute value isn't alone. There's a 1/2 in the front. It is not inside the absolute value, so it's not a part. And I have to get that to go away. You have 2 options. You can divide by 1/2. If you're going to do that, you have to type it correctly in your calculator. 10 divided by 1/2. Okay, notice 10 divided by, and you have to put the fraction in. Oh, you get 20. Okay. Or I say what's easier is to multiply, we talked about this last class, by the reciprocal. 1/2 of 2 is 1. Okay. So multiply by 2 here, and notice that 10 times 2 is 20. The same thing as dividing by 1/2. Okay. So to me, it's easier to multiply by the reciprocal. So absolute value, x plus 2 equals 20. Now, you look and you see that your absolute value is alone. So this is your star step. You leave it right here. And you're going to work this problem 2 ways. My distance is 20. That means on the number line I can go to the right 20 or I can go to the left 20. Okay. So I'm going to say x plus 2 equals 20. That's to the right. X plus 2, I do not change the problem. I change the answer. Could be negative 20. That's to the left. Okay. So if I'm going to work this one, I would subtract 2. So x would be 18. Pretty quick math. If I'm going to work this one, I subtract 2. And x is going to be negative 22. Again, somebody owes you 20 bucks. Somebody owes you 2. You're owed $22. Okay. You can check in your calculator again. Go back to the step you starred. Put your x value in. Well, you can probably do 18 plus 2 in your head. But I'll put it here. 18 plus 2 is 20. And the absolute value of 20 is 20. Okay. I'm going to put negative 22 for x plus 2. And you get negative 20. Remember, the absolute value of negative 20, the distance from 0 is still 20 away. Okay. So those are my 2 solutions. All right, when I work this problem, I'm only highlighting the absolute value. Notice that there's a lot of information that's in the way. It will help Algebra 1 skills if you divide your problem in half. Now, remember, we are undoing PEMDAS. Okay, we are undoing PEMDAS. So I'm looking for addition and subtraction first. I have it, so I must move it. This is not addition or subtraction. This negative 2 is next to the absolute value, which means times. So we leave it for right now. We are going to subtract 2. So I have negative 2 still in front, still times. And 1 minus 2 should be negative 1. Okay. Again, to prove my point, I'm still highlighting my absolute value. And it's not alone. So I need to get rid of negative 2. And it is multiplying, so I undo that with division. okay? So these are going to simplify to be 1. So now I've got absolute value of 3x minus 6. And negative divided by a negative is a positive. You can make that 0.5 if that makes you happy. Or you can leave it as 1/2. That's up to you. Okay, this is my step that I star. Because now my absolute value is alone. Now that it's alone, I will work it 2 ways. I don't go back to the beginning. I don't say 1 and -1. I work from my starred step only. So I say 3x minus 6 equals 0.5. I say 3x minus 6 equals negative 0.5. I set it up 2 ways, only from the starred step, not before. Do not go backwards. You start once you get absolute value alone. So I'm going to add 6. Sorry, I didn't put the equals or the line. So I've got 3x equals, that's going to be 6.5. 6 plus 1/2 is 6.5. Okay, we're going to divide by 3. And again, calculators are good because I'm not sure. I know it's 2 point something. Oh, I can't use that. And the reason I can't use that is that's a repeating decimal. You may not give me repeating decimals. So you have to hit math. See how it has fraction? So you say enter, enter. I have to give you 13 divided by 6. I cannot give you a repeating decimal. So you have to give me 13 divided by 6. Okay? Let's work this side. We're going to add 6. It's the same first step. It's going to be a different solution. So 3x equals, this should be 5.5. If you had $6 and somebody stole 50 cents, you got $5.50. Okay, $6, somebody took 50 cents. Okay, we're going to divide by 3. So again, we're going to use our calculator and see what we get. 5.5 divided by 3. Okay, again, repeating decimal, you may not use that, so you say math, enter, enter. 11/6. Your calculator will change it for you when you tell it to. Now, can you check to see if you're right? Absolutely. You're going to go back to your star step, not the beginning. Go to your star step. 3 parentheses. I need to put in 13/6. So you need a fraction. Okay, and then close it. So 3 times this information minus 6. Notice that it gave me 1/2. Sorry, I hit it twice. So that's the same as 0.5. We're good. Okay, now you can arrow up and copy that by hitting enter when it's highlighted. And then you can go over here and change that fraction to 11 divided by 6. Okay, we're working the same problem, but we're putting a different solution in. Just hit enter. So you get negative 1/2, and the absolute value of a negative is still positive. Okay? So yes, you can get ugly answers in Algebra 2, and you still have to do them. All right, last one. I'm going to highlight my absolute value, which is clearly not alone. Again, I'm undoing PEMDAS, so add or subtract is first. That's a -2, so we're going to add 2. That 3 is multiplied, so I leave it there. Multiplied right now. This should be 21. Right? If you had $19 and somebody adds 2 to it, that's nice of them. Okay, this 3 is not subtracted. It is next to, which means multiply, so we undo that with division. So I got 4x minus 5 equals 7. Now, my absolute value is alone. There's nothing in front, there's nothing behind. This is my step that I'm ready to set my problem up 2 ways. Okay? So I leave the absolute value off and I write the problem down as I see it. This is the right direction, okay, on a number line. To go left, I'm headed to -7. Okay, so we're going to apply the same information, add or subtract first. So we're going to add 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. And then we would divide by 4. That turned into a nice answer. Over here, we're going to add 5. Now, somebody owed you $7. They gave you 5. Pretty sure you're going to be asking them, where's my other $2? You still owe me $2. Okay. Now, right here is when students start making mistakes. I do not divide by -2. There is no x. This is 4 times x. To get rid of multiplication, I divide. I divide by the number that is there. I don't care that that's going to be a fraction. You must divide by what's multiplied by x. You may not divide by the smaller number. Okay, if you're not sure, use a calculator. Negative divided by positive is negative. 2/4 becomes 1/2. Pretty sure you know that. Again, to check it, we go into the calculator. Let me move that up. I go to this step. 4 times, my first number is 3, minus 5. I got 7. Awesome. Okay, I should get -7, and when I take the absolute value, it's still 7. So let's try 4 times negative. You can do 0.5 if you'd like, so you don't have to go type a fraction in, up to you. Minus 5. I did get -7, and when I take the absolute value of -7, it is positive 7. So when you solve absolute value, you have to get the absolute value alone first. From that step, you work the problem to the right of the number line, to the left of the number line. You get 2 different solutions.